Synchronicity, what it is and how to experience it. The pseudonym of God. Colloquially, we call it coincidence when something literally falls into our hands. We have the French writer and Nobel Prize winner Anatole France to thank for a very poetic and apt description. Chance is perhaps the pseudonym of God when he does not want to sign his name. There are many theories surrounding the question of whether these random sequences of events and chains of events really exist. They could just as well be due to our selective perception, or we have simply brought about this chain reaction with the power of our thoughts. So what is synchronicity, and what significance does it have for our lives? 1. What exactly do we mean by synchronicity? We owe this term to probably one of the brightest minds of the 20th century, Carl Gustav Jung. The psychiatrist, psychoanalyst, and expert on human nature spent a great deal of time studying phenomena that preoccupy us humans. In his view, temporally correlated events that at first glance did not appear to be connected, but nevertheless seemed to be linked, could be described as synchronicity. These sequences of events were always significant for those people who were allowed to experience them. Ultimately, one of the core questions of his research revolved around whether we humans could also recognize these coincidences if they were less significant for us. So do we create this connection artificially by attaching so much importance to the events? Or are these causal chains actually linked and we are just unable to recognize the reason for this? Carl Gustav Jung also attached great importance to clearly distinguishing his research and findings on this particular principle of chance from the law of series, which was published in 1919. For us average people, however, only one question is actually important. What significance does this chain of chance have for us and our lives? 2. What makes a coincidence synchronic? The answer to this question is basically quite simple. The meaning we attach to an event determines its significance. For example, if we find a 5-cent piece on the street, for most of us it will be more of a coincidence. If we meet a former superior who is currently looking for new employees and makes us an offer while we are looking for a job, this event will clearly be in the realm of synchronicity. What happens to us every day only becomes significant through the weighting, the meaning we give it. Some people see more profoundly than others. In addition to significance, belief also plays a decisive role in this context. Out of 10 people, perhaps 8 think nothing at all when they see a white feather, or at most, oh, a feather. However, 2 of them may see it as a heavenly message sent directly to them by their guardian angel. The feather remains the same. It only changes in the perception of os humans. A third, decisive indication that we are no longer dealing with a mere coincidence, but quite clearly with synchronicity, is the frequency of occurrence. Just as one swallow does not make a summer, a singular event is not yet a reason for increased mindfulness. However, if we meet the same people over and over again, constantly see the same advertising message that tells us just do it or make it your project, it's time to open our eyes. The universe can be quite persistent when it comes to guiding us on the right path. One of these charming possibilities is synchronicity. We can think of it as a cosmic signpost that points us in the ideal direction. But since we humans are sometimes slow on the uptake, it takes the power of repetition to make the penny drop. 3. People, animals, books, music, and numbers. The many different faces that synchronicity can take on are intoxicating in their rich variety. Such celestial messages can disguise themselves as people who are suddenly of great importance to us for a very specific reason. You should also not underestimate animals that constantly cross your path. Think of Odin's ravens from Viking mythology. Wherever they appeared, the gods and their fate were never far away. It is exciting for us modern people when we are recommended books that turn out to be completely life-changing for us. One line from a single book can suddenly open our eyes to the essentials. If we then try to reconstruct how we came across this particular literary tip, a truly fabulous chain of events sometimes emerges. Synchronicity works in a similar way with the help of music. Everyone has at least one song, one piece of music or one musical signature that has haunted them for half their lives. Sooner or later, couples choose their song that has a very special meaning for them. If this song then appears constantly and everywhere, it can no longer be dismissed as coincidence or even ignored. After the white feather, however, there is another supernatural intelligence service that provides us with clear indications of increased mindfulness. These are the so-called angel numbers. If they constantly cross our field of vision, we can recognize a clear case of synchronicity behind this magical numbers game. It is well known that the ways of God and the universe are not always self-explanatory, but all of them lead to the goal. 4. What to do when synchronicity is the order of the day. Unlike the burning bush in the Old Testament or thunder and lightning directly from the hammer of Thor, bundles of heavenly coincidences are not a bad omen. Fear is completely unfounded, on the contrary. Rather, we should see them as a universal sign that a higher power is spreading its protective mantle over us. If synchronicity has a clear message for us, it is, you are not alone. For most people, the meaning of these wonderful chains of events is self-evident. If we have been tormented by certain questions for weeks or days and can simply bring ourselves to make a decision, here comes a valuable hint directly from the very top. These decision-making aids are free of charge and completely non-binding, but we would do well to follow their wise advice. Sometimes synchronicity is the tip of the scales that decides yes or no, now or never, or all or nothing. Occasionally, it can also seem like a cosmic nudge or even a kick up the backside. The universe likes to speak a clear language. There is then neither time nor space for subtlety. A clear chain of favorable opportunities or unique chances is always an imperative for action. Your intuition and gut feeling will almost certainly be at your side when it comes to being courageous and following the signs. In any case, recognizing that you are dealing with synchronicity is the first important step. Synchronicity, divine tyranny? The writer Johann Gottfried von Herder called time and chance the two greatest tyrants on earth. He was not entirely wrong in this assessment. As divine and universal as synchronicity may be, it also takes away our freedom to a certain extent. We are pushed in a certain direction, and our free will is sacrificed to the divine dictates that lie behind every synchronicity. But sacrifices to the gods are rarely without reward.